this, and this is going to be my review of Evolve 1. Dave Skapolski's newest little venture. It's a new company that he started when he's not doing the Dragon Gate shows. The original idea behind the shows was to have Davey Richards and Bryan Danielson as kind of the two big draws. Of course, Bryan Danielson wound up going to WWE. Davey Richards wound up signing an actual contract with Ring of Honor, which meant he wasn't going to be able to do these shows. The reason why he signed the deal with Ring of Honor was he wanted to work New Japan dates. Wasn't going to be able to do that working for Dragon Gate, so that's why kind of all of that went down. And that's pretty much left Gabe kind of out in the open now, kind of without his the two guys that really the promotion was built around. Though this was the first match for the first show that they did. Davey Richards was on here, taking on Kota Ibushi, overall this was a very different show. The name of the promotion is Evolve for a reason. It was supposed to be the new, it was supposed to be evolving of the promotion, and there was some different stuff on there. I don't think all of it worked. I don't think a lot of it worked, to be honest. And there was a lot of matches. The show's not very long. It's just over 2 hours. But that said, there's a lot of matches. There's 11 matches on here, not counting a very lengthy promo, which is about as long as the matches. So there's a lot on this DVD. That's not necessarily a good thing. When I was going back over a lot of this stuff, I realized that a lot of the matches just seem the same. A lot of them, nothing really stood out on the undercard. Basically, the undercard is very much like, well, let me just go over the whole DVD. You start out the DVD with some promo stuff, backstage promo stuff, which wasn't very good. Wasn't very good at all, to be honest. It was supposed to kind of be, I guess, like a documentary type thing back behind the scenes, with this girl who's, it's one of the girls from one of BB Hulk's dancers from the last Dragon Gate pay-per-view. They stuck her here as like a reporter type thing. She was bad. This whole thing was kind of bad. It was supposed to be kind of like an MMA, going back behind the scenes, looking to the locker room type thing. Didn't come off very good. None of the backstage stuff, in my opinion, came off good at all. It was definitely the definition of indie, and did not seem. It seemed like the type of thing that you would see from someone that was just starting to do wrestling with backstage promos, not like Gabe, who's been doing them for a while, or Sal, who is the other guy that he's partnered with this from FIP, who has been doing them for a while. It was nothing like that. It seemed very strange, very forced. They did a thing where it was, "Why am I a wrestler?" which came off like, very bad, just kind of guy talking into the camera type thing. I mean, these were bad indie promos, in my opinion. Or I should say okay indie promos. If you're talking top-level indie stuff, wasn't nearly as good as I can think of at least 4 other independents that have better promos than this. So that wasn't good either. Then we finally got to the matches. The first match was Bobby Fish versus Kyle O'Reilly. And what pretty much set the tone for the night, this match was not all that long and was a lot of moves. Almost every match on here was not very long and had a lot of moves. Same thing with Chuck Taylor and Cheech. Same thing with Eric Cannon and Ricochet. First 3 matches are all kind of the same. 2 guys go out. They come out to basically the same generic music. They introduce them. Don't really play up to the crowd other than just waving to the crowd. And then they go to their match and they're doing nothing but a bunch of moves. It's very much like if you took the X Division in TNA and you took the best of the X Division from the last 2 years just on Impact, not on any of the pay-per-views, just on Impact, and you stuck them on a best of. That was pretty much what this DVD was like, because you had a lot of weird stuff going on. I mean, it was just you didn't give guys enough time. I mean, I think most of the matches were like 7 minutes. Nothing. A lot of stuff didn't even come close to 10. Guys really didn't have enough time to go out there and do anything. And when they did, all they were doing was moves. And that gets boring after a while. You need something kind of in there. Then we finally got a tag match to kind of break up the matches, or so I thought, with Dark City Fight Club versus Aeroform. I've never seen Aeroform before. They look like two guys that probably could put on an entertaining match. They were in there with Dark City Fight Club, which is pretty good, but pretty much all this was more moves. And on top of that, it was a tag match without tags. It was basically, and when I say that, I don't mean like Jakara, like, you know, guys not having to tag in other guys. I mean, all 4 guys were pretty much in the ring at the same time for the most part, and it came off very strange. It was just a bunch, like I said, it was just a bunch of moves. I mean, is what it was. There was really nothing to it. Next we had Mercedes Martinez taking on Nia, I think is how you pronounce her name. And this was a glorified squash. It was a good glorified squash. Martinez looked good until she got on the mic. And basically what they would do is they would let the winners get on the mic, cut a promo type thing, which was interesting and was also interesting, I guess. You know, Chuck Taylor probably did the best of these. The problem with the in-ring promos was the mic wasn't very good. I don't know what it is with Gabe and bad house mics, but this was, you know, it would cut out probably every 5th word, and also it sounded like the guys were on a cell phone. I mean, it was just not very good, and which hurt because you had all of these guys doing these in-ring promos. Chuck Taylor probably did the best one. Ricochet probably did the worst one. Martinez was not much better than Ricochet. Martinez was not good at all, and and on top of this, it was probably the shortest match, which is saying something. It was a squash, a pure squash. Maybe went over just over a minute, and it was kind of like, why would you even put a women's match on here if you're not going to showcase the women, you know, type of thing. Then we got Silas Young versus Brad Allen, another match with nothing but a bunch of moves. Though Brad Allen did a moonsault to the outside and landed pretty much face first on his head, and looked like he killed himself doing this moonsault, which added a little bit more to the match. Still, it was the same thing as everything else, a bunch of moves. This was just moves on top of moves with nothing else to it. And I'm sure and I know there's people that love that sort of thing, and they're probably going to love this DVD. If you like that, you're going to love this DVD. If you like nothing but, I mean, these were literally spot fests. When people talk about, oh, you know, this is spot fest, this was literally just moves on top of moves. Then we got Johnny Gargano taking on, you have to excuse me, it's late, Chris Dickinson. Again, moves, nothing really to it, didn't really like it, blah. Then finally, the last 3 matches actually got good. We got Sawa taking on TJ Perkins, TJP. This was up to this point so much better than everything else. We actually got some mat wrestling. We actually got some comedy into it. Oh, I left out Jimmy Jacobs and Kenn. Totally skipped that. Jimmy Jacobs versus Kenn. This was probably the worst. Well, save for the women's match, I think this was probably the worst match on the undercard. Kenn was doing his WWE style. Jimmy Jacobs was playing face against the Kenn. Really didn't come off well. The match was just kind of there. It was just okay. Which is, you know, I mean, the thing about all these matches is nothing was bad. I mean, even the squash match was a good squash match, but it was just all kind of there, and there was just after I watched it was like, you know, it was a good match, or it was an okay match, but that's all it was. It was just an okay match. I didn't have any other feelings for it. Jimmy Jacobs versus Kenn was just that. Went on a bit longer than everything else on the card up to that point, and was just kind of there. After the match, there was a confrontation between Tommy Dreamer and Jimmy Jacobs, where Jimmy Jacobs, who had been playing face for pretty much the whole match, then would turn heel on Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer did the beatdown. It was what it was. It was the promo thing with Jimmy Jacobs and Tommy Dreamer went longer than a lot of the matches did. So, Then we got T.J. Perkins versus Sawa. This was actually really good. There was a lot of ground wrestling, a lot of not just spots on top of spots. It's a pretty good match. Enjoyed it. There was some comedy in the match. They were actually playing to the crowd. Up to that point, the only other match we had really was playing to the crowd was the Jimmy Jacobs Kenn Doane match. And that wasn't nearly as good as this. So there was that. Then we got pretty much a Chikara match. We got Mike Quackenbush, Hallowicked, and Frightmare taking on Gran, Akuma, Icarus, and Brodie Lee. This was not as good as I thought it was going to be. You would think these guys have all worked together enough that you would think this would be a pretty great match, and you would think that Quackenbush would want to go out there and, kind of do a highlight type match. Kind of under-delivered in my opinion. Still wasn't bad. It was still a good match, but it just kind of under-delivered in my opinion. Enjoyed it. It just seemed kind of off, and especially after seeing everything else that we'd seen on the show. I mean, keep in mind, this is a Chikara match, which mostly is pretty lucha-based, so you see a lot of moves in these matches anyways, and it felt like, you had seen all of these moves already before, because everyone was just trying to get in, it seemed like, as many moves as possible in the allotted time they were given. So there was that. Then we got Ibushi and Davey Richards. This was great, as I'm sure everyone probably figured it would be. This would be, in my opinion, if you wanted to buy the DVD, to buy the DVD. I did think it was great. It was kind of weird. Richards went out there, dominated the first part. Then Ibushi came out, and we got a little bit more even. A lot of good moves, a lot of the same types of moves. Nothing that we hadn't really seen before. The match did stand out a little bit because of the shortness of everything underneath it, but it didn't, in my opinion, as great as it was, it didn't take up for a lot of the stuff that was on the show, particularly the backstage segments, a lot of the production stuff, a lot of that sort of stuff was what bothered me. A lot of the promos. You didn't have enough on the undercard to really, that was memorable enough for it was like, wow, type of thing. Like I said, a lot of the stuff on the show just didn't work. And so as great as this match was, I don't think it was great enough to even make this good. I think it was just kind of good. But I will say this, if you like moves, if you like, a lot of athletic stuff, you'll probably love this DVD. I have no doubt you'll probably love this DVD. But for me personally, this is not what I would want, and this is not what I want in a pro wrestling stuff. And pretty much the Evolve 2, which took place this weekend, I'm making this video, pretty much had a lot of the same stuff on it. So, I just don't think this company is for me. But I did give it a try. Just not, maybe they can get something together, maybe less matches. I mean, like I said, it was 2 hours, which that's nice because, Gabe is known for going long with his matches. But, less matches would have been really good. I mean, I just don't understand why you'd bring in all of this talent. And there's a lot of talent on this card. This card should have been awesome to be as much talent that is on this card. Even if you just gave everyone like 10 minutes, to go out there and do their thing. But, 10 minutes would be more than enough time to put on some good matches. Some of these matches, if just given that much more time, I think could have been, pretty good. Could have been a little different. Could have added a little bit more to it, and we didn't get that. So, kind of what are you going to do? But overall, like I said, it's a pretty good show, but not a good show. I'd give it a 6.75. I really think as people review this and start to see it, you're going to see stuff all over the place. Because it's really going to depend on what you like. It's going to come down to that. It's very much, I would actually, there's a lot of Chikara talent on here, or guys that usually wrestle in Chikara. So, I think that for that, I would say it's a lot like Chikara, in that I don't think it's for everybody. I think it's for a specific audience. I think that's very evident with the backstage promos, because a lot of the backstage promos were geared completely for, really people who intently follow indie wrestling, even more than I follow indie wrestling. I think that is what a lot of this is for, but I don't think that you can go out there and put on a bunch of just okay matches and then hope that, you know, the main event is enough to deliver. I think that you have to put on, you know, especially for an indie promotion, I think, and your first DVD, I mean, for the first DVD, I don't think this was very good at all. Definitely didn't make me want to buy the second DVD, which, that's not good. So, anyways, maybe they'll turn things around, who knows, but definitely I wouldn't recommend this to anyone. But, unless you like moves. If you like moves, this is for you. But anyways, with that, I'm out. Have a good one.